All right, welcome back to another episode of Fresh Thoughts from the Hearts. This is episode number 30, and it's kind of a new take for us. We have a guest on today. She's from Australia. She's from down under. I'm not very good at accents. I'm fucking trying. Okay. She currently lives in the UK, and she's a fat loss, fitness, and I think it's like a relationship with food and health. She's a coach. Okay, but she takes a comedic approach to it where
Yeah.
me and my wife have had a very easy time relating to it, and it's been an easier thing for us to consume, and it's changed for us. It's helped us lose weight over the past month. So I just want to bring on Emmaline Howard. Thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. That was a great intro. I feel honored.
I had a full idea of trying to talk in an Australian accent to do it, and I can't talk in accents. It's awful.
Honestly, very few people can do the Aussie one well, but the perk of being an Aussie is we'll just laugh at you if you try. Like we don't care.
I go British about an eighth of the way through every single time, so I just decided to give up on it. But
Yeah.
diving into you right away, where did this all start? Like you are obviously doing fitness and health and fitness coach now. Where did this begin? Like, did this start from us from a point of being overweight, being underweight, self consciousness? Where did this all begin?
Oh, a bit of everything, really. So I was always a sporty kid at high school, never really had an issue with weight, always very self-conscious because my friends were skinnier than me, but I was by no means big. I was still very slim, very fit, very sporty. And then after school finished, there's a lot less organized sport once you're an adult. So I stopped playing sport and my poor eating behaviors caught up with me. And I just started piling on weight. So in like the first 18 months after I left school, I think I put on about like 15 kilos in like 18 months. I just started piling on. And then, it gets to a point where you want to do something about it, but the information out there is sending so many mixed signals and you don't know where to start. So that began the start of the yo-yo dieting cycle. So I, tried some things, lost some weight, gained it back, lost some weight, gained it back. I think, I ended up like at the worst, my worst yo-yo diet was I went very, very restrictive for 3 months and became the leanest I'd been since I was in high school. And the 9 months following that, I binged so hard that I gained 18 kilos in 9 months. And I went from the lightest I'd been to the heaviest I'd been in 9 months. I was like, this has got to stop. This is after a few years of doing it. I was like, I don't know what to do. So I ended up joining some group coaching. And that was sort of where I got the first person telling me, actually, you should be enjoying your life while you're dieting or trying to lose fat. Like, it's actually possible to do both at once. I'm like, what? You don't have to just like restrict everything?
Okay.
It blew my mind.
So immediately very relatable.
Yeah. Yeah.
We say it all the time, and like on previous episodes, like the fitness topic has got brought up multiple times of, like we've got friends that are trying to do keto, friends that are trying to do just like there's every single time you look anything up on the internet, there's something wrong with the way you're doing it. It's either 50% of people are that's the worst thing ever, or this is the best thing in the world. Like the past 30 days, we've been doing whole foods from Monday to Thursday. So just meat, vegetables, fruit. We don't cheat on it during Monday to Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday is our weekend to not necessarily eat everything that's terrible. But what do you think?
No, but like we're busy and social on the weekends, so we can't plan as well of like what we're gonna eat, what we're gonna be around.
And then like drinking, like, constant events. So like we do indulge in alcohol. So like that's only on the weekends too, trying to get down to just being like one night on a weekend. But yeah, we definitely understand this yo-yo dieting crap. And when you say like you went from, I live in a state of if you're not doing it to 1,000% for a fixed amount of time, I'm not going to get changes. And I know that's an unhealthy way. Don't look at me like that. I know it's an unhealthy way to do it. And
Because this is where we're so different. Because if I do it that way, I'll give up.
Yeah,
it's just not fun. I don't enjoy it, and then it's not worth it, and I just go woo, completely the opposite way.
It'll be defeating. So yes, we get it. That's where we've got questions on how to balance this. Like, where did you find the balance? Like, how did this? You said you found a coach, but was there something specifically that stuck out to you to help make the change?
Um, Definitely just hearing that you're supposed to enjoy it was like an eye opener for me. And the biggest thing that I sort of like that the sort of breakthrough was going, if you can't fit these social events and all these things that you want to do normally into your fat loss journey, then you can't expect to maintain the weight because you don't know how to fit them into your life in general. So, you go, all right, well, I'm being 1,000% on it, super strict, 3 months, which is what I did before I like had my worst binge. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm super strict on it. And then the first week out of that super, super restrictive diet, I'm like, all right, I'm going back to my normal life now. And I ate absolutely everything and started piling the weight on again because I hadn't learned how to include those things in my normal lifestyle. So it's about when I learned that I actually have to figure out how to include these. And yes, it might make the process a little bit slower, but then you get like you never have to do it again. And then the fat loss sticks. So you might take a year to get there. And this is the question I ask people. Would you rather take a year or two to get to your end point and have it stay off and never have to do it again? Or would you rather do it in 3 months and then a year's time have yo-yo back and forth 3 times by the time you get to the year and be in the exact same position you are now?
Mm-hmm.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And yeah, I wouldn't say patience is my best trait. I get where you're coming from, and it does make sense. Like, do you have like a daily routine at all, like specifically for maybe the amount of time of day you work out, or like are you trying to eat healthy for a certain portion of the day, or like obviously calorie counting comes into this. It seems like that's one of the main things that has stuck out no matter what, other than keto. Other than like we haven't I tried keto once, and it was for a very, very short period of time before I realized like it feels like the king of yo-yoing. Like it feels like you're going to lose a lot of weight really quick, and then you're going to gain it back in tenfold really fast as well.
Do you understand why you get the rapid weight loss with keto? Do you understand the principle of how that works?
Like what it breaks down, I guess? I don't know.
So the principle of keto is obviously you remove carbs from your diet. Carbs retain water. So this is why when you start a keto diet, you get a week in and you drop like 3-4 kilos in the first week because you're not eating any carbs and the carbs hold water in your body. But as soon as you start eating carbs again, you'll get that 3-4 kilo increase because those carbs hold on to water. So that's why people try keto, get a week in like, this is amazing. I've dropped 4 kilos. You actually haven't dropped 4 kilos of body fat. You've dropped probably 3 kilos of water. So that's where the principle of keto comes in. So a little understanding there for you of why people think keto is so amazing.
Yeah, and it definitely gets people locked in on it or believing in it really, really quickly. How much does the calorie count come into your daily routine? Like, is it to a point now where you kind of have an idea of where you need to be with consumption and size and portion sizes, or are you truly? We've used like the MyFitnessPal app where we punch in every single little thing, and it just becomes like by the end of like a week, you're just like, oh, I'm fucking so sick of punching this stuff in.
Yeah, I do get that. I have had this conversation with a client this week, and she was like, I'm just so sick of tracking. I was like, how long since you've had a break from tracking? And she's like, I don't know, probably a few years. And I was like, do you want to take a break? Like you could take a break from this. So
that's incredible. It's so long.
I encourage people to take breaks from it. That calorie tracking has been my greatest tool in my fat loss journey, purely because it puts you in bed with the principle of fat loss, which is a calorie deficit, burning more calories than your body needs, or eating less calories than your body needs.
Yeah.
And the benefit of tracking is you get to decide what you make those calories up with. People are like, oh, I don't want to track. So they do whole foods or they do all these other things, but you can't guarantee then obviously that you're within your calories. Whereas by tracking it, or automatically you can go bang, bang, bang. This is why it's working, or this is why it's not working. Or, hey, I can fit a donut in because it's not as many calories as I thought. But holy shit, there's a shit ton of calories in avocado. So it teaches you a lot about your food so that when you get to the point of like, all right, I've done what I need to do. I'm going to step away from this. You take those skills with you and you understand what your food's made up of, and it's easier to maintain those habits. I myself don't track anymore unless I'm trying to lose fat. I actually had this conversation with my mate yesterday that I think I'm going to try a maintenance phase. So just trying to maintain my body weight, which I've been
Okay.
doing lately, but I'm trying to try and do it while I'm tracking to actually figure out what my maintenance calories are because I haven't done that for a few years.
Yeah.
But that's the benefits of tracking. But I also respect that it's not for everyone. So
The goal is longevity, obviously. We just it's hard to have that balance of we I become very deep into like going to the grocery store and pointing out every single thing that I think is bad for us because of the amount of sugar in it, or like it even comes down to like something that's a simple food that sometimes I'll look at and be like, but it has this much sugar in it. Like, I don't think we should be eating this. Where, but based on how you're explaining it, calories should be the main focus.
calories should be the main focus for fat loss, but it's that's the principle of how fat loss works. But if you eat, 5 donuts a day and that's all you eat to fill up your calories with, you're going to be starving because it's not going to keep you full. You're going to feel like shit. You're going to have low energy. So it's a balance between, it's like that 80-20 thing we hear all the time. It's a balance between eating mostly whole foods because they make us feel good. They fill us up. Things like protein help us like build and retain muscle. So there's all these things that are important with eating whole foods, but also to include these, less nutritious. I like to say some food's nutritious and some food's delicious, and we need both of them in our diet. So we need to include some of this less nutritious food because that's not going anywhere. We're going to want to enjoy that. We're going to want to be able to go to a birthday party and have a slice of cake without feeling like it's the absolute devil and going to ruin all our progress. So including a little bit of that every day teaches you that you can fit it into your normal diet even when you step away from fat loss.
Yeah, I think it's a very unhealthy relationship with food.
How do you feel about like supplements, like adding in like protein powders and protein bars and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so protein powders, protein bars, absolutely nothing wrong with them. I lent on them for years. I can't have them anymore because they mess with my gut. That's just a personal thing. I still have clients that use them regularly. Lots of people think of them like, oh, supplements, like it's getting into like a weird territory, but like a protein powder is just like almost basically like a food. It's just whey. It's a byproduct of like the milk production and things like that. So it's just a concentrated part of protein. I say don't try to like rely on it. Like if you're having 2 or 3 protein shakes a day to get to your protein, obviously you need to look at what your diet is made up of and how you can try and get a bit more with whole foods. But, having, 3 square meals, a solid amount of protein, and then using like a protein yogurt, protein bar, protein shake to tip it over to get to like where you're trying to hit. Absolutely nothing wrong with that.
I like that. I've heard many times of like the try and eat as many grams of protein a day of your goal weight. Is that something that you've heard of?
I haven't heard that one actually.
Have you heard that? Or am I thinking
I've
I'm making
heard
this
it,
up?
but it just seems like so much.
Like, is that crazy for me to eat 180 grams of protein a day?
Probably not. 180 will feel like a lot if you're not used to it.
Oh yeah, definitely not used to it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that will feel like a lot. And a lot of people make the mistake of diving head first into like, all right, this is what I should be having in protein. So I'm just going to try and hit it straight away. Your gut will be so mad at you. Protein takes a lot more effort to break down and you'll feel like shit. So I say work your way up to it slowly. But I think protein is a little bit overhyped. There's actually been studies to come out recently that say 1.6 grams per kilo of body weight, I believe, is sort of the sweet spot for like what we should be. Anything past that doesn't have significant benefits in terms of like extra muscle or extra satiety, so feeling full. So like you can absolutely have more past that, but there's not extreme benefits past that point.
Oh, my way at the beginning of this was I'm eating chicken, broccoli, and rice for every meal for fucking 6 months is what it felt like my goal was. Now it's kind of like, and I think I've seen some stuff you post about, you don't want to be eating the same thing all week. Like it does. I feel like the way that you come at this calorie deficit and fitness coaching is more of the aspect of you really do focus on like mental sides of going through this, of like, loving your day and enjoying I think I saw a video and you had a fucking kilogram chocolate bar beside one of the thin ones, and you're like this isn't like this isn't good to eat in a day. This is fine to to get into your day. I think I saw that. But you do focus on the happiness and like you said, like making it a 2-year plan to get to your goal, or a 1-year plan to get to your goal, not a 3-month up and down, which I think is very beneficial. We'll break down our day now and see what you think the hurts and the good and bads are, like what hurts us and what helps us.
Okay, go for it.
So right now, and I don't know how much you take in like sleeping or things outside of actual food and fitness to someone's well-being or how well they cooperate with their weight loss, but I wake up every day, Monday to Friday at 5 a.m. That's my get work done before the rest of the day starts, doing side jobs like, podcasting and company and stuff. So I spend 2 hours doing that in the morning. I'll only have water and coffee. And more recently, I haven't been really eating any actual food till probably about noon. That wasn't what I was doing for a long time. It's a medication that's kind of taken away my appetite till then. But I was like 3 eggs in the morning, just like 3 scrambled eggs. Then I'll take my lunch, which is like usually like tuna and crackers, maybe some hummus. Watermelon. We've been eating watermelon like we own a fucking watermelon
I
patch.
saw a little story the other day, the giant
you had the
container
whole
of
container.
I just had
watermelon.
the whole container out. Yeah.
That's just like right now been our, we want something sweet.
Like our sweet treat.
Yeah. And we've just been like, we need to start growing it ourselves for how much we're eating it. And then, dinner times, we try and plan around. I really have been, trying to do the whole foods thing. We're really not intentionally, but avoiding carbohydrates. Not like we do.
I wouldn't say avoiding, cutting down.
Does ramen have like carbohydrates in it?
Yeah, ramen is a carb.
Yeah.
That's noodles.
Yeah. So we make our own like ramen dish. We've been making our own bread, or going to we have a grocery store called Farm Boy. So it's like a much healthier or less ingredient version of like a big chain
Less
grocery
processed.
store. Yes, there's only like 4 ingredients in the bread, so it only lasts like 3 days because it doesn't have processed ingredients,
All the
preservatives in it. So like that stuff too. But that's kind of my day. I'm a big tuna, chicken. We do extra lean ground beef. But like we're not doing burgers during the week. We're not doing like buns, and I don't know if maybe that's just like an unhealthy way of looking at it.
My question to you, I've got 2 questions. 1, do you enjoy doing it? And 2, can you see yourself doing it forever?
I think that allowing my weekends to go 180 has helped. Like we were losing weight doing this, which is all obviously like we tried all these fucking yo-yo diets, and it made it really hard because, as a man, like I'll shift 5 pounds in a day. Like I'll go to bed 5 pounds heavier than I wake up. So it's like I can see what is happening to see the results, where she would stick with me for like weeks on end and not see the results. So it's kind of hard. It's hard to keep doing something and not seeing the number change, which, there's been change. We've started to like measure like our.
Yeah. We started taking actual like body measurements rather than just paying attention to the thing on the scale, because it's really unmotivating when it doesn't change.
Yeah. So, yes, I think I do like it, but like when I go to on a weekend, like, during the summer, I play a decent amount of golf. Like I play every weekend. So like the weekends I'm, starting to crank beers at 2:00 in the afternoon till midnight. And I'm having the hot dog at the turn and not thinking about it. And I'm grabbing an O. Henry to start the round so that I'm not angry all day that I suck at golf. And my weekends are bad. My weekends aren't good. And my days of Monday to Thursday, Friday during the day, other than after dinner, are like no messing around.
Yeah. So language that you've used there, like that your weekends are bad, what makes them bad? Like morally, Do your choices there have morals? Are the
I
foods
think
that you're eating having morals?
I think that they like genuine, like not necessarily that, like since starting to do the Whole Foods thing, at the end of my days on those weekends, yes, I feel bad. Like I don't like for the first time in a long time, not to get too personal, but like, we've felt better internally. Like,
Yeah.
the bathroom hasn't been terrible. Like our stomachs haven't felt like shit. Like we don't just, it was bad. Like how much we were eating out or going to get Wendy's or going to get McDonald's, like just like, so we didn't want to cook and shit. Now we're not doing that. And like, we're not even doing that on weekends. Like very rarely will we go get fast food. Yes, sorry, to get back to your question. Yes, like I do feel fairly guilty at the end of that day. Like morally, I don't love the fact that I just destroyed, not destroyed, because I feel like I'm still seeing the goals, so it's clearly still working. She's having to deal with my head right now. When I'm talking to someone else on the way that I talk to her about this shit, it's like, oh, this is exhausting. This is hard to hear all the time because I don't know what is the right thing, what is the wrong thing. I don't love the way that it makes me feel after crushing a chocolate bar and a hot dog and 12 drinks. Like,
Yeah. So that's why I asked, is it something that you can see yourself doing forever and do you enjoy it? So clearly you don't mind the week for the Whole Foods because you're hanging out for the weekend where you're like, woohoo, I can eat whatever I want on the weekend. So you're actually creating your own binge and restrict cycle here.
yeah. Oh, good. Yeah, I think that you may have brought this up before.
Yeah, you're very strict on yourself, and then you're very hard on yourself if you like slip up in the tiniest way, where I'm not like that. And like you have a video, and it's one of my favorite ones, and I've gone back and watched it a few times about the fuck it bucket.
Oh yeah, I just played that one the other week.
Yeah, I just keep talking to Greg about it. I'm like, you can have a little something, and it's not going to ruin your entire day. But if you have the mentality that it just did, you'll just fuck the rest of the day and just keep eating like crap because you feel so bad about it now.
So my question to you, sorry, I'm going to interrupt.
No, it's
that
fine.
mentality, if you were on a weekend and you'd eaten shit all day and then you had a salad, would you be like, my day is sorted because I have had a salad. I've had a great day. Would you think that? Or would you think I've still had a really shit day because I've had all of this other stuff?
It would be better.
It would be better?
It would definitely be better. I know I would still like the relationship with me and food and like is and my like relationship with like being hard on myself is definitely like a fucking different battle for sure. But yes, my day would definitely be better. Like my day, it wouldn't be a.
Would you
180.
think you'd saved the day? Like you absolutely saved everything and it was totally
No.
fine. Everything was
No.
okay. So if you have one chocolate bar on a day where you've eaten an entire day of Whole Foods, why does that ruin the day? Because it's exactly the same in reverse.
Yeah, okay, that's a good way to put it. At first, I was like, yeah, that fucking ruins my day. But now you make sense. These are the moments that make me feel stupid.
You've eaten really good stuff all day, like, good in terms of like nutritious, that makes you feel good. That one chocolate bar isn't going to undo any of that.
Very well said. It's true, and it definitely messes us up sometimes with how, like, there is pumpkin spiced Cheerios out right now.
You guys have pumpkin spice everything in the
Holy
States.
shit, she drowns in it.
Oh,
and we're in Canada, so like we don't even have it as bad as them. It's already
Oh,
bad
right,
here.
yeah.
But like when we go over all the time because we're super close to the States, but we
Nice.
go over all the time and it's everywhere. Like
Yeah.
we have protein coffee cold brew from Costco in our fridge. That's just like a morning go-to coffee that has 20 grams of protein and 1 gram of sugar. And I think it's 180 calories,
Yeah, somewhere around
something like that. But
That's solid.
it's pumpkin
20 grams
spice.
of protein for 180 calories.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really new, but it tastes good and
It's pumpkin
it's
spice
pumpkin
flavored.
spice flavored. And like her creamer for her coffee is pumpkin spice.
Yeah.
It's something that she drowns in.
Yeah.
You got to tell her about what your ideal day is if you had the choice to control. She does not. Okay, people. She does not have control of what she does in a day. That's
Yeah, I was
not how
going to
I'm
say,
wording
well,
it.
be careful how you
Hold on
word
a second.
that.
Hold on a second. Okay. What would be your goal for us in a week? Like, what's a day look like for us?
It's pretty much what we've been doing for the last couple of weeks. Like having more just like simple, like fruits, veggies, healthy, like minimal ingredient meals.
Okay.
But I'm still that person that, like, I had a really bad day at work. I'm going to have a little piece of chocolate because I need a little endorphin boost. And to me, that's okay because I didn't eat the whole thing like I used to. I just had a bit of it. Or like a little sweet treat at the end of the night because I totally grew up a kid being that you got a bedtime snack and it was not healthy. So now, like, just switching it to fruit, I can do that now without like craving.
What are we going to do
A
all
cookie.
winter with no watermelon?
You can still buy watermelon. It's just not from here.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's probably going to suck.
You have to find more fruits you like.
I know. I don't like any watermelon. I've been crushing. No, I get where you're coming from. Where you've definitely lived this more of like a you really really want balance.
I need
where
balance.
I am a one. I know what you said is definitely going to resonate with me. It's a very intelligent way to frame that around. If a salad ain't going to fix my shit days, why is a chocolate hurting my good ones? Is fucking put that on a shirt. Like I need to wear that thing every day.
Tattoo it across the forehead.
No regrets.
Yeah.
I just like, prior to this, like I'm on the road for work every single day. So like my meals are cold. I'm trying to get used to my meals and what I choose to bring with me on the road. Like before this, like before this stage in our fitness goals and our health journey is like I'd go to, do you know what Tim Hortons is? Do you have Tim Hortons over there?
Yeah, we don't, I don't think, but it's like a fast food chain.
Yeah, it's like it used to be our like coffee shop, like coffee,
Right, okay.
donuts, pastries, but then now they make like sandwiches and shit. But my thing in the morning was like go there for a coffee. I'd get a large iced coffee, and here it's just like half a cup of cream with coffee and ice
And sugar syrup.
and sugar syrup.
And your
then
larges, I think, are much bigger than our larges as well.
We're not
US
as bad as the
large.
States.
US large
Okay.
looks like a fucking super
40
size
ounce
me
cup.
40-ounce cup. Ours is like
Yeah.
a respectable size. Are you in ounces over there? Everything's in kilos?
Kilos and liters and mils.
Liters.
Okay.
Okay.
We did liters.
We use liters for like milk.
Yeah.
But all of our drinks are in like milliliters. Oh yeah, true.
Yeah,
Stupid.
milliliters. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That was a stupid way to say that. We're gonna edit that out. Just kidding. Large iced coffee, a chocolate chip muffin, and a bagel, everything bagel, toasted with extra butter was my morning.
Smash. That sounds delicious.
Every single morning was my thing. And as much as I knew it was bad, like at this point, we were working out like 45 minutes a day for like 100 days straight. Like it was no missed days, no days off. We were eating what we wanted to. And that whole time I was literally just, my working out was maintaining where I currently was because I was eating so poorly.
Yeah.
Like,
Because that's how you started your morning. But then because you're also on the road, you wouldn't take a lunch.
no, I'd always get fast food. And then I'd feel super happy with myself going to get like a foot-long sub at Subway with like all the fixings on it and feeling super happy about like not going to get a cheeseburger at McDonald's. And it's just like, one side of the things is like, yes, it's a better option. The next side of things, it's like, no, that's a fucking awful option. What are you doing right now? So it's good to chat about like, what the ups and downs are, but I think that we really do need to find a balance between what the two of us do. Your way of doing things is clearly a lot healthier and longer lasting than the way that I'm doing
Sustainable
things.
would be the word.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely sustainable. Another one for the shirt. We definitely are like, the way you're wording it is definitely more sustainable. And I need to be able to realize that like, shit isn't going to change overnight. And if it does, it's not something that is sustainable. So I just didn't know like what you have specifically that you do throughout your week that kind of keeps you in line with your goals.
What I do and what someone else will do are very different things. And this is what I try and preach to my clients. I have clients from all walks of life. I've got clients who, are single and have all the time in the world. And then I have clients who have 3 kids and their partner's always working and they're bloody running around and doing everything. So what that single person does with all their time versus the mum who doesn't even have time to wipe her own ass are going to be very different things. So I tell people, rather than, you know, looking at what I do or looking at what your favorite influencer online does. I always say I'm not an influencer. I'm just a dickhead with an iPhone. I'm no different than anyone else. So, you know, you're following these people online going, what do they do? What are they eating? But really, you're better off looking at what your diet is, what you like doing, and then making small improvements on that. So, for example, taking your day before where you were smashing like an iced coffee, a bagel, and a muffin for breakfast, and then Subway for lunch. Were you having takeout for dinner as well, or were you coming home to a home cooked meal?
We usually
Not
cook
always, but we
meals.
always usually cooked our own meals.
Okay. So you look at that and you go, all right, this is my day. It's really hard to kind of do much else with that. So improvements would be maybe you go light milk in the coffee, and maybe you have either the bagel or the muffin, and depending on what you feel that day. And maybe at Subway you choose a lower calorie option in terms of maybe you go for a chicken instead of like a meatball sub, and you add like, you know, a whole grain bread because it will keep you fuller for longer. So it's not actually about like ripping your entire life apart and doing everything different. It's about what improvements can you make to the life that you're already living.
Okay, first off, very well said. It's a very clear to why you are a coach, because it is something you don't think about. Like you think about like what's the fucking answer? Like give us the answer. Like can you just fucking write the script for us and let us know like what we need to do with our day? And it's like what works for me and what makes me happy and gets me through the day isn't the fucking same shit that's going to work for you. So, you know, it's not going to work for you long time or for long term. Um, sorry, what did you end on there?
Something about the bread.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
definitely about the bread. So funny. So I was so negative at food. My relationship was so bad with food for so long that like we'd go out and she loves whole wheat bread. It's her choice over white every day of the week.
Yeah, it's so much better.
And my thing was like the calories are higher. Like why the hell like or I forget what it was. It was calories or
Significantly?
fat or no, it was something
it-
so
I don't know.
stupid. It was just so
You
it
had
was
something
so
against the
stupid.
whole grain bread.
It was like looking at the nutrition. I'm like, like whole grains higher in fat or whatever it was at the time. I don't remember
Yeah,
exactly what it was, but
because
like,
the seeds have more fat in them. Whole grain is higher in fat.
Yeah.
yeah. And that was something that would make me choose white bread. Like
Right.
specifically just like that little thing was like, oh yeah. And like, that's my win. Like you talk about getting that salad. Is that your win? It's like, oh, I chose white bread. I'm fucking killing it with this sub. Like,
I choose white bread because I think whole wheat tastes like cardboard. That is like
agreed.
you can pick whatever reason you want, but we do want to try and remove that fear around foods, because as I said, food doesn't have a moral compass. That's why I asked you before what is ultimately making that day bad, because food doesn't have a moral compass. We're assigning it morals. It's, as I said, more nutritious or less nutritious, more delicious, some foods for the body, some foods for the soul. There's so many different ways of looking at it, but it's about including it all. And I ask people, and say, when you're in a good mindset, sit down and write down how you want your diet to look. Like if you could eat anything, how would your diet look? And 9 times out of 10, people are not going to write down, oh, I'd have like pizza for lunch and burgers for dinner and all of this because I love it and I want to eat. You'd probably actually write down, I want to eat mostly whole foods because it makes me feel really good. It keeps me full. I feel like I've got lots of energy and I'm not sluggish. But I'd actually love to smash a cornetto after dinner because I love ice cream. And so I'm going to include that in my day. So, you know, it's about thinking about how you actually want to feel when you eat, not just about in the moment, but like overall throughout your day.
That's something I think we've really noticed since like prioritizing more like whole foods. We were genuinely starting to worry that Greg had an allergy to some kind of food because you had so many gut problems. And we couldn't nail down like what was causing it until we started eating better. And it was like, oh, your stomach feels better.
You just ate like a fucking trash bin for 6 months.
Not even a trash bin, but like I think all the like processed food and like
Yeah, it was a lot. It was
Does
a
this
lot.
mean your gut's worse on weekends now when you eat more processed food?
Not anywhere near what it was.
mine is, but yeah.
Not anywhere near what it was. Like definitely worse than my Monday to Thursday or my Monday to like Friday during the day. But yeah, definitely like a noticeable change, but still nowhere near where it was. Like it sucked. Like it was, and I'm on the road all day. You know how many Tim
Yeah.
Hortons I had to stop into and not buy a muffin because I needed to use the bathroom? It was
Yeah.
brutal. But
Yeah.
yeah, it is very true. Like, and it's easier in the grocery store. Like, I think I read something like a long time ago about, like when you go to the grocery store, walk the outside of it. I don't know exactly how your grocery stores are set up, but like when as soon
Same.
as you walk,
Yeah.
yeah. So like all the vegetables, dairy, meat, cheese is all, and like the bread that's made in the grocery store is all along the outside. Like none of the aisles of all the processed foods is a huge change, and like it makes our grocery shopping so much easier.
Makes it cheaper too.
Yeah, it is. And you don't think it's going to be because like meat, vegetables, all that stuff seems like it's a higher value dollar amount, but like the amount you or like how much more full you feel after eating those meals is so much easier than going back into the closet for something else.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
what has this journey been like for you since becoming a coach and growing on social media? Like social media is a very weird avenue. Like you said, like you're a dickhead with an iPhone. Like I feel that. Okay.
Yeah.
I get that. I'm nowhere near your level yet, but I get where you're coming from of like, I'm not here to tell you how to live your life. Like I'm showing you how I live mine. And if I can help you with yours, it's kind of like that. It seems like where you come from is like a very relatable and interesting and nice way to come across of it, not like the cutthroat savages that are like, you need to fucking change your life and do this. And that's me trying to talk with an accent for some reason. How has your life been since this change?
It's been absolutely wild, and most days I wake up and I go, whose life am I living? This isn't my life. Whose life am I living? Because it just doesn't feel real. It's been like over a year now, but it doesn't feel real. But I actually did like everything in reverse. So I wanted to become a coach, and I have other friends who are coaches and do social media and stuff like that. And they're like, "Oh, just start your Instagram account now. Start making content because it always sucks when you start. So then you can get some practice, and then by the time you finish your coaching qualification, you might have like a couple of hundred, maybe 1,000 followers to sell to try and get clients." And I was like, "Yeah, that seems logical." So I took the jump, and in the first week, one of my videos went viral, and I was like, fuck, what do I do now? I was like, I'm not a coach yet. Like, and so one thing I was very specific about is I'm not going to talk about things I don't know about. So as you said, a lot of my videos come from something that's relatable, something that's personal and it's personal experience. It's very hard for someone to tell me that I'm wrong about something that I feel, versus if I break down like a scientific study. There's so many like different
A
nuances and
million.
stuff with that. So I talk about things that normal people can relate to because I'm a normal fucking person. But yeah, it just blew up in the first like 3 months. I hit like 50K followers, and then in like 6 months I hit 100K. And so it wasn't even until a few months ago that I was actually able to start coaching by the time I got through my qualification. But it's been amazing, and I absolutely love it. And I'm so grateful that so many people have been able to resonate with my content, and I've been able to help them, because that's ultimately where it came from. So many people are like, oh, I want to blow up on social media. And I was like, I don't care if I blow up on social media. I just want to help people, and I want to help people not feel so alone, because I felt so alone, and like there was no one talking about normal fucking shit on how to lose fat. So I was like, I'm going to be that person, and hopefully it'll resonate with some people. And then I guess it did, because it just went a little bit nuts.
Were you the type of person that could easily speak openly to people before getting in front of the camera for the first time of like being able to talk on social media?
Yeah, I again, people like turn to me like, "Oh, you're such a natural at it. Like your first video was really good." I look back at my first video, I'm like, it was bang average. It could have been a lot worse, but it wasn't amazing. And I actually spent like years just like sending silly videos to my friends, like just like Snapchatting, like just walking around the house chatting to them. And then I went traveling the year before doing, and I did it on my Instagram stories, just on like my private personal account. And I would just like walk around on holiday and be like, oh, I'm doing this today and I'm doing that. And it made me a lot more comfortable talking to the camera. But I tell you what, once you put a script in front of yourself, flip the camera around so that you can't see yourself on the screen, and you're talking to a back camera, it's a whole different story. So it definitely took me some getting used to. But one of my friends said, just imagine you're having a conversation with your old self. And that really resonated with me. I'm like, oh, that's it. I'm talking to the camera as if it was old me, and this is what they needed to hear.
That's awesome. I like that.
I specifically asked you that because this wasn't on the list of things to talk about today, but there's been some conversation a lot lately between us where like I really like doing stand-up comedy and podcasting. She's really been enjoying doing the podcasting, but she's had kind of a little bit of a process of where we're trying to figure out like what she really wants to do. And it feels like at this age where you just don't know what the fucking option is for you, or like where to go, and if it's wrong, if it's right, like should I get in front of the camera, should I do these things? And she's mentioned before that like she really like she's she has physiotherapy assistant experience, so like a bit in the health
Nice.
field, then she works in the hospitals, and now she does like laser eye surgery. So she's always been like the
Oh,
in the
sick. Can you
health
sort
field.
mine out?
Maybe.
You're a long way away.
Yeah, it'd be a bit of a drive for you, or travel, I
yeah.
should say.
And she has brought up coaching before, specifically just for the avenue of like she does like the ins and outs of health
And helping people, like working in healthcare, that's the entire objective, is helping people.
and going and being the person who was, you know, overweight, self-conscious, upset, and diving through all these fucking gimmicks of do this and drop weight quick, and let's do Jenny Craig, and let's start just eating protein shakes. Let's do a soup diet. Let's do a juice cleanse, or all this crap that they try and make you do. Like, any tips of advice for starting with that stuff, or like stuff to think about in the avenue of becoming a coach? Obviously, this might not be something that she ends up wanting to do anyway, but just for anyone out there that's, you know, wants to show their opinion or their way of doing something.
Yeah. So in terms of content, literally just start. It will be fucking terrifying, and your content will be fucking shit when you start, because it's new. No one just picks something up and is good at it, and if they are, fuck them. So, you know, it's another great thing a friend said to me was, if you make content and it's shit, no one will see it. It won't get pushed out and it won't get views. So it doesn't really matter anyway. And if you make content and it gets views, it's clearly not shit. So that's a really nice way to think about it when you're starting and you're scared. But in terms of becoming a coach, I don't know what it's like over there, but in Oz, over here, everywhere else, pretty much, like all the qualifications are the same. Like in terms of like, so I've got a personal training qualification, because I don't just do nutrition, I do programming, I do it all. And all the qualifications are the same. The cheapest and the fastest one, usually that's somewhat reputable. Most of what I do with my clients is lived experience, things that I have learnt from living it myself. As you said, you've got the experience yourself, and things that you learn along the way. I put so much of my time and effort into attending like events and stuff where I can learn from other coaches, and surrounding myself with good people that can teach me things. Because what I learned in my PT course, occasionally I'm like, oh, I actually got that from my course and I know it from that. But most of what I give to my clients and what I can teach my clients is stuff that I've experienced myself, or stuff I've learned from other coaches, or attending days that are purely designed to make me a better coach.
Awesome.
It's definitely been the topic of like, very well said, and it's a cool way to look at it from someone who's clearly doing it, and you saying out loud like, just get in front of the camera, it's gonna fucking suck. Like, I have went back to my original videos of our original podcast setup in the attic of the old house we were living in, with the crap gear, and like me doing the voiceover, so like, you know, another day, and we're walking through, and this is my studio, and it's like my studio, it's like there's like a dog bed there, and like, you know, it's like the first thing, it's like, you know what, it sucked, it was scary, you're always so worried about what other people are going to think about it, and you should just take into consideration the fact that if it makes you happy, like, who gives a fuck what anyone else thinks about it.
Yeah.
So I've mentioned it a couple times of like, fucking record it. Like, maybe don't even post it. Record it. Get in front of the camera, click the fucking record button, and start recording shit. Like, buying those products, like that protein coffee, you like the pumpkin spice shit, you love that, and do a walkthrough of like analyzing the product and enjoying the product, and see if you enjoy watching yourself going through it. No one likes the way they sound or do things anyway. Like, even if you do it well, you look back through it and you're like, what the fuck am I doing? But
Yeah, I literally, of all the podcasts I've been on, I've never listened to one back because I'm like, I can't imagine anything worse than listening to myself talk with someone else for like an hour.
it's very
It's hard
fun
enough like
editing.
editing my 1 minute
Yeah.
content, but things to
Yeah.
think about are anyone who's going to judge you for the content you're making is never going to buy from you, so their opinion doesn't matter anyway. And oh my gosh, my brain just stopped working. Did you see that? There was something else I was going to say.
I get that all the time.
Um, no, it's just disappeared into the atmosphere. There was something else I was going to say
Specifically
about,
around like people's opinions or thoughts
yeah,
on
people's
you,
opinions and getting started into making content.
making your own videos, not posting them yet.
No,
No,
I'll probably interrupt you in 5 minutes when it comes
that's
back to
fine.
me.
That works.
Perfect.
Um,
I've tried to think about that. Like I had heard from a friend that also does a lot of like content and things. And she said, like, if there's a certain person you're worried about their opinion, block them.
Yeah,
If
I
it
just remember
stresses
what
you
it is
out, why
too.
do they need to look at it?
Yeah, exactly. You don't need them in your life. I remembered what it was too. It came back to me. When you're making content, don't start and stop the camera because it starts and stops your flow. Just sit in front of the camera, press record, and just go and say the line 10 times if you have to. I've had days where I will get in front of the camera. I've got a script, that's like takes me a minute. I'll get in front of the camera, 4 minutes, done, filmed, ready to go, chop it down to 1 minute, we're good. I've had other days where I sit in front of the camera, say the same line 50 fucking times, and I've got 15 minutes of footage to edit because they're just not coming out the way that I want them to, or I'm stumbling over them or anything like that. But as soon as you go start, stop, 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 your brain thinks I've made a mistake. And you get more and more flustered. Whereas if you just press go, record the whole lot, say lines over and over again, and then edit it together, it's so much easier.
That's why I'm looking at you.
you seem to be judging, and I don't
Not
know.
judging, that's just so relatable to
It is
listening
so
to you
true.
some days that I hear you do
Oh.
the whole thing and then you stop it, you delete it,
My thing
and you
is
start
like,
over.
do you write out base points of how you're going to go through stuff, key things you want to touch on, or are you like word for word rocking it through like a script?
I am pretty much word for my scripts. Sometimes I'll get an idea and I will just freeball it. And so I'm either like I stick to the script 100% or I go in or like 95% or I go in with no script at all. And I would probably say 90% of my content I go in with a script because as you saw before, sometimes my brain just stops. I'll
Yeah.
go off on a squillion different tangents, and then I find I've got a lot of editing to do with trying to pick which line I want or what I need to remove. Whereas if I sit down, I script it, I can go, that's a good hook, that's a good way to tie it off. I make sure I've covered all my points, I've structured it well, so I actually have time to think it out.
That's so relatable. So I've got wild ADHD. So it constantly happens where I'm like, let's talk about this and this and this and this. And it happens in our podcasts all the time.
Oh yeah.
When I record things, they're usually very on a whim, not thought of in advance. It's like, oh, I think this would be funny for like a comedy clip or whatever I'm doing at that time. Like maybe you saw me walk around fucking Walmart yesterday. It's not stuff that when I'm doing it, the first time I go to say it, it's all off of my head. I don't have anything, I have no idea where I'm going at with this.
Yeah.
So I'll record it, and then I'll be like, okay, I liked this. I didn't mind this. Let's grab it. Let's go again. I'll grab those things back and I'll throw random other shit into it. And I will do the start, stop, start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. But I get where you're coming from, where especially with what you're doing, like if I'm doing a clip that takes a little bit longer or like what I'm doing, I have a cooler company now. So I'm starting to do
Saw that.
content for that. When I do those ones, what you're saying makes a lot more sense. If there's certain points that I'm hitting every single time that I don't want missed in each video, if I just keep the recording going and I keep touching on these points, I can grab my good sections of each point at the end and just
Correct.
piece them together and be done. That's pretty cool. That is a cool way to think about it. It's not like you walk around town and like a bunch of friends that are close friends of yours do content or create things like this. So
Yeah.
it's like there's no one to just have that conversation with that will relate and give you their point of views on it. It's not like,
Yeah.
hey, how do you edit your reels? It's like, I don't fucking go on Instagram, dude. Why are you asking me this shit? Like that's how
Yeah.
it feels like when you're talking to like my friends. But yeah, that's
It's
very
very
well
hard
said.
when you're not surrounded by people. I'm very fortunate that my best mate Sam, who you probably see on my page,
Yeah.
he is my housemate he's been coaching for 10 years and he's taught me everything he knows. So I am very, very, very fortunate to have him in my life to be able to show me so many of these things.
Is this your boyfriend?
Absolutely not. He's like a brother.
Wait, so the guy that you cook that cooks goes in your cooking videos is just like your brother?
Yeah, well, occasionally he pops up. Yeah, so he's my housemate. He's not actually my brother, but like people like assume we're dating. We've actually got matching T-shirts now that say we're not a couple, because we got so sick of explaining it to people. But like he'll come into my room, flick my light on and off, throw something at me, and then leave. Like that's the dynamic.
Yeah, he's funny.
Nice.
He's a funny guy. Like you guys' banter and shit like is very clear. It's cool. Like when you guys do like when you do your cooking videos and he's doing random shit, or when you were working out and he's in the background doing wild shit. So yeah, it's definitely very relatable.
So what took you to the UK then?
What took me to the UK?
Very good
I
question.
wanted absolutely nothing to do with what I'm doing now. So I wanted to travel more. So year before last, I decided I wanted to travel. So I did like a 3-month solo trip around Europe. Solo traveling is the best thing anyone can ever do, in my opinion, because it teaches you so much about yourself and you get to show up as exactly who you want to be because you don't know anyone, and you can run on your own schedule and all of that. So I did a trip around there and I was like, before I left, I was like, I think I want to move over there just so I can travel more. And I did the trip and I was like, well, that sold it. Let's go. And then so I got home, sorted myself out, and then moved back over early last year. And then obviously my life's completely changed and I started coaching and social media and everything since I got here. But yeah, the main reason I came was just because I wanted to travel more.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I like that.
I know your wheels.
I want to run away all the time. Like,
oh, honestly,
I've thought about it a million times. Like, we obviously both have full-time jobs and a home, but we don't want children. Like, I live in this headspace of like, let's fucking go. Like, what are we waiting for? Don't you want me to be 45 with arthritis and upset with my life because I didn't fucking go and do those things when I was 27, 28, 29, 30? Look at her. She's having a good time.
I know.
This is the mindset I live in. I very much live in that mindset. Now, having done it as well, I'm like, I've had this conversation with quite a few people lately at like events that I've been to and things like that. And they're like, I'm scared to do this. I'm scared to do that. And I go, okay, why? And like, oh, just because like, what about this? And what about this? And okay, I was like, no, why? And like, once you remove the fear from it, then you can actually look at it logically. And 9 times out of 10, the main reason people don't do things is money, because it costs fucking lots of money to do this shit and run away and all of that. But it's just about, I say it's about closing the gap. So figuring out where you are now, what you actually want to do, what's actually stopping you from doing it, like physically stopping you, and then closing the gap. So for me, when I wanted to travel Europe, I was like, all right, it was like, I'm going to move across Australia. And I was like, all right, well, I need to get a second job and save money. So I got money to do that. And then I saved money twice as fast as I thought. So I was like, all right, well, I think I'm going to go on a big trip first. And then I saved lots of money to go on that trip because that was the only thing stopping me. And so then I went on that trip and then I came home and I'm like, what's the only thing stopping me from getting to the UK? All right, I need a visa and I need to sell a lot of my shit here and organize that. So you just actually look at physically what's stopping you, because fear is what you're telling yourself, but there's not actually anything in your way. You're just putting things there.
That's your new coach. That's good.
But like,
yeah,
there are legitimate reasons. So you could be like, I like having a normal routine and a stable job, and I like living in this country. They're legitimate reasons not to go. But if you're like, I feel like a change and I want to do something different in terms of my career, moving to a different place is one of the best things that you can do. Because as I said, you can show up as whatever version you want because no one there knows you.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
Can you hear those?
No,
it's in our headphones.
We're hooked up to it was like a bam, 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 bam. But apparently
I love that.
Anyway, that's very well said. And it's very true.
Yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I'm 28. I had to think about that for a second. I'm 28.
Wow.
Are you 28? Did you turn 28 this year?
Yeah, like a couple of months ago. I just turned 28.
So you're at 96. Yeah, we're 95. Yeah. So
yeah, similar age. But 2 years ago, like just over, because it was August 2 years ago, I went, no, it must be 3 now. 2021, I went traveling. Oh shit, no, 2022. 2 years ago, I hadn't left Australia really except on a cruise ship with my family. I'd been to like 3 countries, and the other ones were like the coast off the coast of Australia, little islands with my family. And I was working retail. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I thought maybe coaching, but like in Australia, I was from a small town and I didn't even know what coaching was. I just like knew about PT, and I'm like, I don't think PT is what I want to do. I don't just want to show up and do sessions. In the last 2 years, I have now traveled a total of 25 countries. I've moved across the world. I've blown up my social media. I've started doing a job that I love and found my passion for it. Like, I've completely overhauled my entire life. And this is why I keep sitting here going, what fucking life am I living? Whose life is it? Because it doesn't feel like mine. I pinch myself all the time. So I like to tell people, like, just figure out what's stopping you and just break it down and do the shit, because the life you want to live is possible.
Are you looking for a roommate? We're really clean. We pay our bills. I just kidding.
We have a cute dog.
We have a cute dog. Well said. Good for you, first off. Like, congratulations, because it is very hard. It is a very big feat to, no matter what, like, even if you sit there and you're like, I don't want this life. Like, I don't want to live here. We talk about it all the time of like, you know, wanting to do stand up and wanting to go to a city or a country or a place that allows, you know, like we're in a very small town too. Are you kidding me? If you were a coach only in this town, you didn't do it on social media, half the people here wouldn't know what the fuck you're talking about. You don't fix my ankle or help me walk, I don't even know who you are. Like,
Yeah.
they would have no idea what you're even trying to do. And social media is also already hard enough for people to understand. But it's a very hard thing to get over, of, you know, the fear of failing all the time. But like, I live in a sense of the fear of me being 40 and regretting the last fucking 15 years of my life is way higher than my fear of failing.
Yeah, and that's what it needs to be.
Oh.
People who are successful have just failed more, and they're okay with it. And that's the other question I asked myself. You know, you said to yourself, like, what, like, you're scared about like being 40 and not doing the things you want. And that was exactly where my fear came from. I was like, and I asked people, I go, pick a what if that you can live with. Because you ultimately, every decision is 2 what ifs. It's, what if I stay in this town and I do this forever? Am I going to be okay with that? Or what if I go and chase my dreams? And so pick a what if that you can live with. Are you more okay with staying as you are, or are you more okay with taking the risk to go do the things that you want to do?
I would rather move halfway across the world and fail for the next 10 years of trying to chase that dream than spend the next 15 years sitting here wondering if I could.
Yeah.
Well, there's your decision.
Oh, my fucking decision's made. My decision's been made for a fucking minute. She's also down. Like, she's always been down to do it. It's definitely the like subconscious fear, but regardless, it's a
majority fear. And just, if it was up to you, we would be going tomorrow. And I'm definitely more like, okay, we got to break it down. We got to figure out how we're going to do it.
But that's what I said. Figure out what's between you and where you need to be, and start putting things in motion.
Do you have any idea? We're driving for an hour after this. Do you have any idea the life conversations that this woman is going to have to go through in the next hour?
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It happens anyways.
It's just going to be so much heightened. Where can people find you, Emmaline? Like, where there's going to be people that listen to this that, first off, you're extremely relatable. So if you're listening to this, go look at her page. It's Coach Emmaline.
Yeah, Coach Emmaline. Coach Emmaline on all platforms. I've dropped the ball a bit across the other platforms, but Instagram is my main one. But I am also on Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. But Instagram is the best place to find me.
So that's Coach Emmaline, Emmaline.
Yeah, literally Emma Line.
Perfect. I recommend going to check out her stuff, even if you're just looking for a laugh, something to reset your day, some extra ways of looking at your fitness and your health. Is there anything else you want to throw out there? I know you do have a cookbook, I believe, that's online, correct? It's an electronic one.
Yeah, it's a PDF ebook. It will get sent straight to you. So yeah, it's just a recipe book of, I like to say, normal fucking food. People get it and they're like, there's pasta and burgers in this and I can lose fat while I eat it. I was like, yes, that is exactly what I'm going for. So it's just a recipe book of normal food that is like more calorie friendly options that are going to fit better into a lower calorie, high protein diet. Plus, there's like a couple of pages in there of, tips to help you track your calories, things that are actually important when you're losing fat, not all the like nonsense out there, all the things that I wish I knew when I started. So there's a few of those little things in there as well.
Perfect.
That's awesome.
You'll see our order come through in 15 minutes. Thank you. Thank you from me and my wife
Yes,
for coming
thank you
on
very
this
much.
chat with us. It's nice to have someone out there that's relatable for the aspects of social media, for fitness goals, for traveling goals. And it was very nice to chat with you and hear about your journey.
No, it's been absolutely amazing. I've loved it. It's been such a good chat.
All right, everyone. If you want to check out everything, it's on YouTube. It's on Google Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Please rate, review, and subscribe. Go see Emmaline. Go look at her stuff. Buy the cookbook, and let's make a difference. Let's change our lives here. Let's get happier, healthier, and thinner.
Let's move away.
Make
Let's
it
put it on
fucking
a
happen.
t-shirt. Let's move away. Did you fucking hear that? Let's end
Yes!
it there before this fucking ends. Thank you guys so much. It's nice talking to you. Have a good day.